folks, welcome back. The fly we're going to be tying today is one we call the CDC Seacher. This pattern is ridiculously easy to tie, takes very few materials, and it definitely catches trout attention. The thread I'm going to be using is a Danville 8/0 in tan, and I'm just going to start at the hook eye, and I'm going to dress that hook back. I'm going to come back to about the barb or so. There is no tail on this pattern, so we're going to go straight into the body. The body of this fly, we're going to take a CDC feather and we're going to strip off all these fibers, and then we're going to dub these fibers onto the thread just like we would dubbing. So get a nice big bunch of those. You can use a couple feathers if you want a heavier body. I generally use one. Just to have a little bit of a sparser body, but go ahead and just make a normal dubbing noodle with that, just like you would any dubbing. Go ahead and palmer right up that hook shank, and then I just like to kind of pinch and prod it a little bit, and you'll see some of those longer fibers will get teased out, and that's what we want. We want those longer fibers to catch some bubbles, give the illusion of some legs, antenna, any number of things. Alright, so once you got that nice and teased out, what we're going to do is we're going to come in with some snowshoe rabbit. This is just a foot, and the best fibers and longest fibers are right up here towards the toe, towards the pad of the foot. And you're just going to cut off a nice big section of that. And what you need to do is you need to come in and really clean this up well. I hold the very end of those, and then I come in and pick out all that under fur and all that short stuff so that we just have the longest fibers. Do a little more cleanup. I still got some short stuff in there I can get rid of. It's a pretty healthy bundle. We want a nice big prominent bushy wing. This fly is all about being buggy. Okay, so now I'm going to lay that right up on top of the hook shank, just like we would deer hair, elk hair. I'm going to tie that in nice and tight, well up towards the eye. There we go. You should have that nice bushy wing. Now these extras, I'm going to pull them straight up as I cut them. That'll give us a nice little transition up towards the eye. Won't be as bulky. So go ahead and lash down all that. Should be nice and clean, just like so. Now we're going to come in with another CDC feather. I'm using a matching feather, but you can use a different collar up here on the front if you want. We use white a lot of times. And I'm going to tie that feather in up here by the tip. And I'm not going to cut that out. I'm going to leave it. And then I'm going to wrap this CDC feather, palmer it around just like you would a hackle feather. These fibers are so long that it doesn't really matter how you wrap it, they'll stick out. So I'm going to wrap pretty much right up till the end and then capture it. Then I'm going to pinch everything, palmer it back, get a few wraps around it. Now I'll come in, try to cut out just that stem. There we go. Really let those things splay out, go wherever they want. Sometimes you might get some exceptionally long ones in there. If I have any super long that are actually longer than the fly, I will trim those down. Now the last step, I'm going to come in with just one single piece of peacock curl. And we're just going to wrap that right up here on the front. Make it nice and pronounced. Doesn't take much. And you don't want to build up a big giant head. That's why I'm only using one strand. And I usually go ahead and whip finish before I worry about cutting that piece of peacock off. Nice little 3 or 4 turn whip finish. Get that guy tied off. Then I can snip both at the same time. And there we go. That's it. Use the head cement of your choice. It's just a really, really buggy pattern. Between that snowshoe hair and that CDC, it's a great floater. Floats really well. Even though this is a really bulky looking pattern, it's not at all. It casts really, really supple, really subtle. That little bit of peacock up on the front just gives it an extra little bit of flash. Fish really respond to it. This thing turns fish's heads. I mean, you're going to at least find about every fish in the creek throwing this thing. They'll check it out. So tie some up. Let us know what you think. Another thing, these things work great as a hopper dropper. We'll run a nice small light nymph off the end of this thing. Works dynamite, folks. Tie some up. Let us know what you think. Tight lines.